Broadcasting from the ARN Racing Studios in Southern California, a turn for media company, ARN Los Angeles. This is ARN, the American Racing Network, the Motorsports Authority. Now,
drivers, start your engine!
You're shifting gears on ARN with Alan Bailey.
Well, there goes the neighborhood.
You name it, we got it. NASCAR.
He's going to do it. He's going to win the race and the NASCAR Sprint Cup Championship. California's Kevin Harvick does it. Holy cow!
IndyCar.
Will Power is an IndyCar champion. Thank you for the
Drag racing.
Oh! Jason line red lights and Stevens becomes the 17th champion in the history of funny car with a hammer down throw run.
Supercross.
Ken Robinson to the finish line. He wins the season opener here at Angel Stadium.
So much more. So get ready. You're shifting gears on ARN with Alan Bailey.
We're live from the Auto Club Speedway here in Fontana, California. It is Graham Rahal who ends up winning it out here, winning the MAVTV 500 at the Auto Club Speedway, breaking a 125-race winless streak. Welcome on in. We're live from the Auto Club Speedway's Media Center here in not-so-sunny Southern California at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. And we're going to talk racing, and we're going to be very blunt for the next hour because there are two sides of the fence to this story. On the one hand, we saw an incredible amount of lead changes. We saw 83 lead changes. That's a brand new record. And that's a good thing for IndyCar. It really, truly is. It just wrapped up here. But on the other hand, you got to think at what price? Because what we saw out there, although it was exciting, it was not good exciting. It was, oh my gosh, somebody's going to die out there exciting. And to be very frank, I honestly feel like I just lost 5 years of my life. I feel like I watched a restrictor plate race at Talladega or Daytona because that's what happened out here at the Auto Club Speedway today. And it got kind of wishy-washy because a couple of things happened. One, it was hot out here in Southern California. The race started at 1:30 in the afternoon local time, so it was extraordinarily hot. But on the other hand, there wasn't a whole lot of people here. Half the grandstand was closed as it was, and the other half of the grandstands didn't fill up. And it was Tony Kanaan, who was in the media center here moments ago, who just said if there was 100,000 plus people out here, that's one thing. But there was 5,000-10,000. It wasn't a lot. And I hate to sound harsh, but the fact is a lot of IndyCar fans didn't show up here today, and they missed one heck of a show. It was very, very, very nerve-wracking, to say the very least. We saw a red flag right there at the very end when Will Power and Takuma Sato got into it on the front stretch, and Graham Rahal, he ended up walking away with it only when Ryan Briscoe and Ryan Hunter-Reay made contact on the final lap. Briscoe's car going up into the air, flipping on the front stretch at the start-finish line, and somehow landed on all wheels. Both drivers checked and cleared from the infield medical center here at the Auto Club Speedway. They're okay. We saw a crew member actually on pit road earlier in the race during the first set of pit stops, green flag pit stops, actually around lap 30, actually got clipped by the wing of another car. He was transported by ground to a local hospital here in Southern California. The last that we heard from him on his condition is that he was awake and alert and not in life-threatening condition, but he is being transported for precautionary reasons. We'll get you an update on that if it becomes available to us when we're still on the air here. So I want to get you involved. I want to hear what you have to say at the Alan Bailey, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I want to hear your opinion of this one because Tony Kanaan picking up, the podium 2. He's finished P2. You had Marco Andretti come home 3rd, and you had Juan Pablo Montoya 4th. You had Sage Carmen 5th, 6th Scott Dixon 7th. We had James Jakes 8th, Charlie Kimball, Simon Pagenaud, our pole sitter, came home 9th with Jack Hawksworth in 10th. So this is very interesting, and I actually what was very funny is we actually had a chance to talk to Graham Rahal on Thursday's edition of Shifting Gears, and he said it in that interview when I was sitting down with him at lunch on Thursday interviewing him that he didn't think that the Hondas had anything for these Chevys, and it was kind of quite the contrary out here because Chevy's been so dominant and so good all season long that, frankly, you came into this weekend thinking more of the same. We're going to see Chevy up front. And for the most part, they were up there on the speed charts and up there in qualifying. But I don't know. The Hondas just seemed to have more power coming off the turns. It seemed like those engines were just pulling a little bit better down the front and back stretch, especially the front stretch. And the thing that I noticed with Graham all day, and I was watching him because I noticed this, he came up through the field fairly quickly. In about 60, 70 laps, he was right there in the top 5 after starting well back into the field. He actually started in the 19th position out of only 23 cars. And in a matter of a handful of laps, well, I should say 30, 60 laps or so, he was near the front. And that's saying something. He did that with green flag pit stops and with just good old-fashioned passing cars, and he did that and then some. And it was very interesting, to say the least, because he worked his way up. But the thing that I noticed was he was getting a heck of a run off the turns, especially turn 4. And at giant racetracks, at these massive speedways like the Auto Club Speedway, you need to get that run off the turns, off turn 2, off turn 4, because you want that power to carry you down the front stretch to get you a good run into the turns. And Graham had that. Was he the best car out here all day? I think he was top 5, no question, but he was right there at the end. And he honestly, right there at the end, I think had the best car. He was right near the front, and he definitely deserved this win. Like I said, breaks a 125 race winless streak. So seriously, that was congratulations. And yes, the race did finish, unfortunately, under caution. We didn't want that. Nobody wanted that, but it is what it is. When you have a car flipping down the front stretch, end over end, going, 100 feet in the air, what are you going to do? You need to end the race right then and there. And that happened with less than 2 laps to go. So what do you, that was the race, period, plain and simple. It actually was on the final lap that happened, actually. So it's going to be interesting. Now, we know that Tony Kanaan had just gotten up and left, actually, from the media center. He was down here for his post-race interview. Somebody in the media center said, had asked him and proposed the question, do you think that this was a good race, and do you think that this was good racing, and don't you want to put on a good show for the fans? And he brought up, obviously, a death that we experienced in IndyCar a few years ago. He lost his best friend, and it still affects him. It's very clear that it still affects him. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway back in 2011, a lot of you know, we lost somebody in IndyCar on track. And it was due to speed. Dan Weldon. We just seriously, he got basically airborne, got up into the fence and lost his life. And it was very sudden. It was very tragic. And these guys still carry the scars. And Tony's angry, for lack of a better word. He's angry that IndyCar is doing this again. And it's not so much that IndyCar had the decision, we're going to do this. IndyCar is trying something with these rules, and it produced a form of racing that, frankly, will lead to loss of life. Hopefully, it won't happen, hopefully, but unfortunately, it could happen either on the racetrack or a fan in the stand, and that's something that IndyCar will address. I know they will. They haven't come out and said anything. They haven't said anything to me, but this type of racing, especially when we see cars flipping down the front stretch at the Auto Club Speedway, it makes you stop and go, okay, maybe, just maybe, we need to change things, because this is not the form of racing that I grew up on. I don't know about you. I don't want to see that. I don't want to come to the racetrack thinking, am I safe here? Should I be here? And that's what we were dealing with today. And that's a big, big problem. We're going to see if we can get Graham, if he can stop on by in the studio in a little bit. I think Tony already took off in a bit of frustration, and I don't blame him. He's very right. This racing is unacceptable, to say the least. And hopefully it changes. It needs to change, because it really isn't something that we need to do anymore, period. And to me, it doesn't matter if you think that this was good racing today, because it was take your breath away moments, but it was oh my gosh, they're going to crash and kill themselves, because this was at 200 miles an hour. It was at 220 going into these turns. That's ridiculous. The fact that these guys are inches away from one another as it is, and the fact that they're risking their lives on literally a daily basis, lap by lap, it's unacceptable. IndyCar is going to step in. They're going to do something, and hopefully it's something that we can all kind of put behind us fairly quickly here. What we'll go ahead and do is we'll step aside for the first time here. When we get back, hopefully we'll get some drivers that'll stop by here in the media center. They're still out doing pictures and things like that. And yes, a lot of people were asking me on Twitter, yes, Graham Rahal's fiance, Courtney Force, was out here at the racetrack today. She's still here, I believe. I saw her in Victory Lane a little bit ago, actually, with her mom, Lori. Didn't see John, actually, but who knows? We'll go ahead and step aside right here. When we get back, though, we'll see if we can get some drivers in here. We'll continue to break down what was a fantastic race, but somewhat dangerous, MAVTV 500. Don't go anywhere. You're shifting gears right here on ARN.
Sick of bad race coverage or none at all from those other networks? Make ARN your one and only for all things motorsports. ARN, the Motorsports Authority.
What is one NASCAR Unite's wristband capable of doing? It can inspire a child to go farther in school. It can construct a brand new playground for kids who've never had one. It can introduce a child with a serious illness to his or her favorite NASCAR driver.
I'm Tony Stewart. I wear my band to Unite for Kids. Band together with me by logging on to www.nascar.com/unites to pledge your support.
That last apartment looked more like a tool shed.
That's because it was a tool shed, dear. I thought I'd show you the less than desirable apartments first because your credit is less than acceptable. But no worries, plenty of apartments. Let's try this one.
It's a broom closet.
Don't be silly, dear. It was a broom closet. Now it's apartment 3AA.
Potential landlords can and will check your credit before giving you a lease. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hammond alongside NASCAR driver David Reagan.
When it comes to tire safety, nothing is more important than your tire's air pressure.
Just like a pit stop, checking your air pressure takes just a few moments.
And those few moments will not only keep you and your family safe on the road, it can also help save you money.
Properly inflated tires can improve gas mileage, which will save you money at the pump.
So be tire smart and make sure your tires are properly inflated.
Learn more.
What is one NASCAR Unite's wristband capable of doing? It can inspire a child to go farther in school. It can construct a brand new playground for kids who've never had one. It can introduce a child with a serious illness to his or her favorite NASCAR driver.
I'm Tony Stewart. I wear my band to Unite for Kids. Band together with me by logging on to www.nascar.com/unites to pledge your support.
That last apartment looked more like a tool shed.
That's because it was a tool shed, dear. I thought I'd show you the less than desirable apartments first because your credit is less than acceptable. But no worries, plenty of apartments. Let's try this one.
It's a broom closet.
Don't be silly, dear. It was a broom closet. Now it's apartment 3AA.
Potential landlords can and will check your credit before giving you a lease. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hammond alongside NASCAR driver David Reagan.
When it comes to tire safety, nothing is more important than your tire's air pressure.
Just like a pit stop, checking your air pressure takes just a few moments.
And those few moments will not only keep you and your family safe on the road, it can also help save you money.
Properly inflated tires can improve gas mileage, which will save you money at the pump.
So be tire smart and make sure your tires are properly inflated.
Learn more at betiresmart.org. A message from the Rubber Manufacturers Association.
Nurse, I need you to apply pressure to the head wound until I can get to it. I'm concerned she's lost too much blood.
Oh, no.
You in the corner, who are you? You're not supposed to be here.
She's my girlfriend, doctor.
You need to wait out in the waiting room.
Please, doctor, I want to stay with her.
Look, she's been badly injured. So if you want to do what's best for her, you need to let us do our work.
Please, doctor, she has to be okay. I didn't mean to do this. I love her.
Wait a second. You were the driver?
Yes, but I didn't mean to. I swear, we went to dinner. I was just buzzed. I only had a few drinks.
Just buzzed? Why didn't you tell us that? In that case, your girlfriend is fine.
Hey, sweetie. I feel great. You want to get out of here?
I can't believe this. Really, Doctor? She's really okay?
What, are you kidding? No, not really. Nurse, get me a suture kit. Stat.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
Shifting Gears on ARN is powered by Stash Feed. Get the feed. Log on to stashfeed.com to see what you've been missing and get the feed. You're Shifting Gears on ARN. Here's Alan Bailey.
We're live from the Media Center here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. The MAVTV 500 is in the books. And guess what? Graham Rahal, driver of that number 15 Honda, officially in victory lane, snapping a 125 race winless streak here in 2015, getting back to victory lane. Now, I told you we were going to try to have some drivers in, and frankly, the drivers are frustrated. Everybody except Graham Rahal, I would imagine, but every single driver is frustrated because the conditions out there were suicidal. We saw some amazing racing. There's no doubt about it. If you don't believe me, log on to Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at the Alan Bailey and just check out some of the video footage that I posted on my Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, because truly we saw 4 or 5 wide. I'm not exaggerating, 5 wide and 6 wide almost in certain areas, but cooler heads prevailed. And really, there was no running away with a lead. There was none of that. It was literally like driving on a restrictor plate racetrack, which in NASCAR is fine and dandy, although it is dangerous. It's fine and dandy in NASCAR because you have a roll cage around you and you have fenders. Here in open wheel with IndyCar, not so great. In all honesty, if I was watching a restrictor plate race at Daytona and Talladega, it would be the greatest restrictor plate race I've ever seen. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that wasn't darn entertaining, but it was dangerous, suicidally so. It was just, I can't even describe it really. I'm trying to find the words for it without swearing here. I really am, and I can't find the words because it was dangerous. There's no doubt about it. And then on the very last lap, you had Ryan Briscoe and Ryan Hunter-Reay get into it on the front stretch coming off of turn 4, and they flipped. It was Ryan Briscoe who went flipping nose over nose, flew 50 feet in the air, and somehow landed on all fours. We're pleased to announce that Ryan Hunter-Reay and Ryan Briscoe both checked and released from the Infield Medical Center here at the Auto Club Speedway. They're fine. They are cleared to race again. But this was just insanity. Tony Kanaan finished second, and Marco Andretti came home third. Both of them came to this media center and sat down to the media, and both of them raised their voice more than once when answering questions about the safety and about putting on a show here. And one dingleberry reporter that doesn't really get it, let me just put it that way, I'm not going to name him, actually had the cojones to step up there and go, well, would it make a difference if there was 50 people or 100,000 people? Don't you want to put on a good show? That was a good show. I'm not arguing it's not. It was a good show. I'm saying it was incredibly, stupidly dangerous. And it's not the Auto Club Speedway's fault. It's not IndyCar's fault. It's not the team's fault. It's that IndyCar went and picked a rule package that frankly produced good racing. But when you take it into the context that we're racing open wheel cars at 220 miles an hour around the Auto Club Speedway, it was incredibly, stupidly dangerous, borderline reckless. I don't know. I mean, it was good racing. I enjoyed it, but to be very honest, the first 3/4 of the race, I was very thoroughly entertained. I was enjoying myself. It was a good race. Guys were giving everybody else some room. We saw some great side-by-side racing. But right there at the end, when the checkered flag's near, everybody got, I don't want to say stupid, but they got aggressive. And it was a little ridiculous. Cars were 4 wide for many, many, many laps. They were inches apart from one another. And if you're doing 75, 100 miles an hour, 150 miles an hour, that's one thing. The fact that these guys are doing 220, my stomach is literally turning, and I'm holding back my lunch because I'm honestly getting sick to my stomach thinking of the stress. I was literally in the media center shaking, and I'm not exaggerating. Everybody in this media center, I'm pretty sure, lost at least 5 years of their life with stress on that one, because we were all sitting around and we were all going, whoa, the whole time. We heard it on the TV broadcast too. They were saying it, and so was the radio broadcast. We were stressed out. The fans were stressed out. It was a very stressful race right there at the end, and I can only imagine what the team owners and everybody else were thinking and saying, because this was just ridiculously, stupidly stressful. At the Alan Bailey Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, you can also use the hashtag ARNrace in order to get in on this conversation, where you can send me stuff like, hey, Alan, what happened to CFR Racing? Seriously. You know what it was, is they got into it. Well, they didn't even get into it, but no, Ed Carpenter's car unfortunately got loose, and he unfortunately moved up the racetrack and collected his teammate, of all things. I mean, the bad luck, can it really continue for that team? They've had horrible luck on the ovals this season, and it continues, unfortunately, here at Auto Club. And they both get DNFs, unfortunately, and it's a theme that unfortunately looks like it's going to keep continuing in 2015. Now, we do have 5 races left, so it's something that might not continue for a while, but it just, that's all I could say. It's just, oh boy, that's just, it was not a pretty sight, let me put it that way. But looking at some of the things that that really made the race, Simon Pagino started out on field, led the field into turn 1, but Marco Andretti made the pass going into turn 1. Castroneves makes a move off of turn 4 and takes the lead. You had 3 lead changes in less than 1 lap on the first lap. Basically, we saw lead change after lead change after lead change after lead change, which basically shuffled the field up quite a bit. We saw new leaders practically every single lap. We had 83 lead changes for about 15 different leaders. Insanity, pure insanity. Now, we saw a round of green flag pit stops on a number of different laps, actually, because we didn't see that many cautions at all. Everything started happening in the latter stages of the race, but our first yellow flag didn't come until lap 136. We had already seen 3 rounds of green flag pit stops at that point, and we were coming up very rapidly, or we had actually passed the halfway point of the race. So there was a thought process of, can this actually go all the way green? And it looked like it would for a second there. And the yellow came when running 3 wide. Castroneves made slight contact with Power and Briscoe. And unfortunately, Castroneves spun, made light contact with that inside wall. The leaders came down. Leaders under caution were Rahal, Kanan, Power, Briscoe, and Montoya. Now, the pits were open a lap later. Briscoe made repair on his wing. Power wins the race off a pit road, followed by Rahal. Now, we had a medical update regarding Dale County Racing crew member Oren Trower. He was transported by ground to Arrowhead Regional Medical Center for further evaluation for lower extremity injuries sustained on a pit road incident here at the Speedway. Tower is the inside front tire changer on the number 19 entry. As far as we know, he is in stable condition. We'll get you an update whenever that is available to us. Now, we saw the green flag around lap number 152. Power led the field to green at that point, and everything just kind of got crazy there. We saw another caution. Carpenter collected Newgarden on lap 158, and ultimately the red flag came out on lap 245 of 250, actually, after contact between Will Power and AJ Foyt's Takumu Sato on the front stretch. Basically, both cars got into the wall. It was a nasty, nasty crash, but it ultimately caused a number of pieces of debris everywhere, so they threw the red flag. Rahal was leading at the time. He was still leading. A handful of cars came down pit road to try to play the tire game, and ultimately it didn't end up working out. After that, we saw the green flag. After an incredible shuffle right there, Rahal ended up being out in front after the final caution flew on the final lap when Ryan Briscoe and Ryan Hunter-Reay made contact on the front stretch very similarly to where Power and Sadu got into it, and ultimately it was Briscoe who flipped and landed on his all four wheels, but ultimately he went for a violent tumble down the front stretch here, tore up the grass pretty good too, I'll tell you that much. And he both drivers did get out of the car. Both drivers checked and released from the infield medical center here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Both are clear to race for the remainder of the season. So it very interesting because a number of things happened. Rahal was there all day. He really truly was, and he capitalized on it right there near the middle. That's what you have to do. You have to go up front. You have to somehow take those bad days and turn them into good ones. He had a horrible qualifying effort. He really did. He qualified. Where'd it go? Where'd my paper go? Right here. He qualified 19th. Won the race. Period. That is very, very impressive. I don't care who you are. That is darn impressive right there. Now, what we'll go ahead and do is we'll step aside here. When we get back on the other side, Graham Rahal is in the media center here. Hopefully, we're going to try to Shanghai him before he has to run off and go do some more TV. We'll try to get him in here in order to talk to him to figure out how the race was from his perspective. So you'll do I'm going to learn how to speak English one of these days. I swear to you I am. So don't go anywhere. We're live from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Graham Rahal, the winner of the MAVTV 500. You're shifting gears right here on ARN.
Sick of bad race coverage or none at all from those other networks? Make ARN your one and only for all things motorsports. ARN, the Motorsports Authority.
Nurse, I need you to apply pressure to the head wound until I can get to it. I'm concerned she's lost too much blood.
Oh, no.
You in the corner, who are you? You're not supposed to be here.
She's my girlfriend, doctor.
You need to wait out in the waiting room.
Please, doctor, I want to stay with her.
Look, she's been badly injured. So if you want to do what's best for her, you need to let us do our work.
Please, doctor, she has to be okay. I didn't need to do this. I love her.
Wait a second. You were the driver?
Yes, but I didn't mean to. I swear, we went to dinner. I was just buzzed. I only had a few drinks.
Just buzzed? Why didn't you tell us that? In that case, your girlfriend is fine.
Hey, sweetie. I feel great. You want to get out of here?
I can't believe this. Really, doctor? She's really okay?
What, are you kidding? No, not really. Nurse, get me a suture kit. Stat.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
What is one NASCAR Unites wristband capable of doing? It can inspire a child to go farther in school. It can construct a brand new playground for kids who've never had one. It can introduce a child with a serious illness to his or her favorite NASCAR driver.
I'm Tony Stewart. I wear my band to Unite for Kids. Band together with me by logging on to www.nascar.com/unites to pledge your support.
That last apartment looked more like a tool shed.
That's because it was a tool shed, dear. I thought I'd show you the less than desirable apartments first because your credit is less than acceptable. But no worries, plenty of apartments. Let's try this one.
It's a broom closet.
Don't be silly, dear. It was a broom closet. Now it's apartment 3AA.
Potential landlords can and will check your credit before giving you a lease. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
Hi, I'm Jeff Hammond alongside NASCAR driver David Reagan.
When it comes to tire safety, nothing is more important than your tire's air pressure.
Just like a pit stop, checking your air pressure takes just a few moments.
And those few moments will not only keep you and your family safe on the road, it can also help save you money.
Properly inflated tires can improve gas mileage, which will save you money at the pump.
So be tire smart and make sure your tires are properly inflated.
Learn more at betiresmart.org. A message from the Rubber Manufacturers Association.
Our son, Alan, was a combat medic.
One night in Iraq, his platoon came under heavy fire.
Without any regard for his safety, Alan left a covered position and rushed to the young wounded and was hit himself.
Critically wounded, Alan Babin will require daily care for the rest of his life. Paralyzed Veterans of America is here to help our injured veterans get all the benefits they've earned.
PVA is the voice of wounded veterans.
To support paralyzed veterans, visit pva.org.
Nurse, I need you to apply pressure to the head wound until I can get to it. I'm concerned she's lost too much blood.
Oh, no.
You in the corner, who are you? You're not supposed to be here.
She's my girlfriend, doctor.
You need to wait out in the waiting room.
Please, doctor, I want to stay with her.
Look, she's been badly injured. So if you want to do what's best for her, you need to let us do our work.
Please, doctor, she has to be okay. I didn't mean to do this. I love her.
Wait a second. You were the driver?
Yes, but I didn't mean to. I swear, we went to dinner. I was just buzzed. I only had a few drinks.
Just buzzed? Why didn't you tell us that? In that case, your girlfriend is fine.
Hey, sweetie. I feel great. You want to get out of here?
I can't believe this. Really, doctor? She's really okay?
What, are you kidding? No, not really. Nurse, get me a suture kit. Stat.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
What is one NASCAR Unites wristband capable of doing? It can inspire a child to go farther in school. It can construct a brand new playground for kids who've never had one. It can introduce a child with a serious illness to his or her favorite NASCAR driver.
I'm Tony Stewart. I wear my band to Unite for Kids. Band together with me by logging on to www.nascar.com/unites to pledge your support.
That last apartment looked more like a tool shed.
That's because it was a tool shed, dear. I thought I'd show you the less than desirable apartments first because your credit is less than acceptable. But no worries, plenty of apartments. Let's try this one.
It's a broom closet.
Don't be silly, dear. It was a broom closet. Now it's apartment 3AA.
Potential landlords can and will check your credit before giving you a lease. Don't let your credit put you in a bad place. Go to controlyourcredit.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Treasury and the Ad Council.
Our son, Alan, was a combat medic.
One night in Iraq, his platoon came under heavy fire.
Without any regard for his safety, Alan left a covered position and rushed to the young wounded and was hit himself.
Critically wounded, Alan Babin will require daily care for the rest of his life. Paralyzed Veterans of America is here to help our injured veterans get all the benefits they've earned.
PVA is the voice of wounded veterans.
To support paralyzed veterans, visit pva.org.
Shifting Gears on ARN is powered by Stash Feed. Get the feed. Log on to stashfeed.com to see what you've been missing and get the feed. You're shifting gears on ARN. Here's Alan Bailey.
We're live from the Media Center here at the Auto Club Speedway at Fontana, California. Graham Rahal, the winner of the MAVTV 500 out here, and he snaps a 125 race winless streak in the process, and coincidentally puts a Honda in victory lane, which is kind of a rarity in 2015 here in the Verizon IndyCar Series. Now, Graham, unfortunately, is running around doing a bunch of interviews. We'll try to get him in here later, but in the meantime, I think it's important to play this. It's his post-race interview here from out here at the Speedway. He got a chance to catch up with the Media Center, with the media out here at the Media Center. I want to play some of that for you right now here on ARN.
It was a good day, and I think it was pretty entertaining. And yeah, for sure, from a driver's perspective, it was pretty nerve-wracking at times. I was going 4 wide outside of, I think it was Canaan, Montoya, maybe Briscoe or somebody. And I was thinking, man, I haven't done this in years and years and years. But the thing was, like I just said, here versus a difference, versus Texas is the width of this place. And also, that the guys were able to actually stay in the lanes and make it consistent and fun. And so I always felt like when I went there, I was going to be given some room and make the racing pretty good.
Questions for Graham. Yes, sir.
Did you feel kind of lucky the fact that you came out of, did you feel kind of lucky coming out of the pit with the fueler still in it and then not having to come back in and making that a post-race decision?
Yeah, well, obviously that would have killed us. And, Phil, my fueler, he's been pretty hard on himself right now. I think he was concerned that we didn't get in all the fuel that we needed to, which we did. And unfortunately, he tried to kind of jam it back in there. But Phil is one of the best in this sport. He's always very, very quick. My pit stops today were excellent. I mean, honestly, that was one of our biggest gains, all day was pits. I mean, we passed a lot of guys on the in-out laps and in the pits. So, that was pretty good. But yeah, we were definitely lucky with that one. Unlucky, but lucky. because I went out of pit lane. I was like, freaking thing won't shift. I mean, I couldn't figure out what it was, you know. And then I looked in the mirror. I was like, you know, you got to be kidding me, not again. And then luckily it wasn't in all the way. So when I kind of moved the car back and forth, it finally popped out.
Other questions
That's all
for
I can
Graham?
say.
Yes, sir.
So, Graham, multiple close calls. It looks like there were even some moments of contact during the race with your car. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, plenty of guys. I'm sure guys point. I know Elio pointing the finger at me. I've already heard that. I mean, I was clean out when Elio hit me. I was clean outside, 4 wheels, wheel to wheel, absolutely wheel to wheel on the outside of him, and he puts me in the gray going into one. And I mean, flat out didn't give me an inch to the wall. And I just, you know, well, I'm not going to lift. So, and he did, and he crashed, you know. So that's not really, if you're going to put somebody in that place, then you need to suffer the consequences. And he did. You know, Kanan was always clean. I'm sure there, you know, there was a lot of guys that were racing real close. I mean, Kanan was pushing me down to the white line and stuff. But the thing about like a guy like TK is when he does that, you know, when it comes corner entry, he's going to give you your space, you know, which is what happened the last couple laps there. But there were guys like Sato was going into one on the bottom lane and would just shoot straight to the top of the track. I'm like, you know, where the hell did that come from? But I got called for blocking, and I don't know who else did, but you know, it's unfortunately right now, I mean, you know, we're being told to give room and stuff, but nobody is, and yet there's no penalties for it. And so, you know, when I was starting to get pushed around, you know, I don't feel like it's right to be pushed around, so I just started to push back, and that's kind of the way it goes. And then, you know, I mean, I think I touched with TK. I was on the bottom, but I think we just touched going into 3. And I don't think I ever actually touched Elio, but he definitely wasn't. He was doing the normal Elio drive where you want sort of thing.
Kay, and then Bruce, Brian, and Keith.
Hey, Presto Cars in Competition. Graham, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks for the picture beforehand, and congratulations on your upcoming wedding. But there's a lot of emotion coming out of this race, and some have said it's crazy, we shouldn't be racing like this, and others have said it's racing, it's racing. Your opinion?
Look, I think it's racing. You know, we have taken ourselves to a place over the last few years to where we've reduced the downforce so far that we couldn't even race, you know, to where it became a single file sort of follow the leader fest. And, you know, I don't think it needed to be quite as close as it was today, but I mean, and people that sit, some of these guys that sit and say that it was easy today, they should have beat me then, because I can tell you it wasn't easy for me. I mean, when guys, it was very hard to pick a lane. It was very hard to figure out where to go. And when you got one guy in front of you, the car drove one way. If it was a Honda, it drives differently than like the wake of a Honda. The car is different than a wake of a Chevy. So you always had to be thinking who you're behind, you know, what lane you're in, how can I find the grip? Do I need to straddle the, you know, the seam and everything? So it wasn't easy by any means. I mean, yeah, it was the closest racing we've seen in a long, long time, but it was very different than the old pack racing style where it's just flat and, you know, you place it where you want. I mean, you still had to, you know, pick the best spot. And, you know, I think today we were very fortunate to be in the position that we were in, and, you know, very, very lucky after that red to hold the lead, because TK was quicker than me today. And I felt like if I got out front on my own, I was in trouble, and luckily we just held him off enough. For the first yellow. Yeah, no chance. The first yellow with where they went red flag, it was very close between the 3. I was like, you know, I think I led. I mean, felt like I was further ahead, but I came out of the thing 3rd, so I didn't know, you know, which way it was going to go. But it's all good. TK's got enough wins; he can share some.
Bruce.
2 questions. One, how surreal does this feel right now? Because it was 7 years ago. You were just a kid when you won your last IndyCar race. To be here now, I mean, that's a long time. And just how surreal does it feel to be back?
It feels good. I mean, I'm most happy for my dad and, Dave and Mike and, all our sponsors that kind of came back and gave us some life this year. This is a big, big deal for us. And, there's a lot of people, that made a lot of comments about myself and about our team and about our owners and everything else that weren't fair, to be quite frank. And, so to kind of rebound the way we have all season, I mean, this feels good to win for sure. And I'm definitely looking forward to tonight. I can tell you that, but it's been a good year and we've shown that it wasn't like a one-hit wonder, that we were good at, I don't even know, Barber or something. I feel like we're starting to find our form everywhere a little bit, and I think that's helping us in the big picture. And I told my guys, I mean, my sights are still set on finishing the top 5 in points. I mean, I don't know that we can win it. I really don't. But top 5 in points, I think, is achievable. And, this morning we got together and I said, guys, this is, we start 19th, but this is our best opportunity right here. It starts here. These next 3 races are where we've been weak the last couple of years, and these next 3 races are where we need to improve. And I think everybody did a good job. And seriously, enough can't be said for this team. I mean, you got to understand, I mean, we're understaffed by a couple people. We've never done a wind tunnel day. We've done one shaker rig day all day. We don't have the resources others do. And these guys put their heads down. They work damn hard, and I'm really proud of them.
And also, you've come close to so many wins, but it was always one piece of bad luck. Whether it be brushing the wall at Texas on the next to last lap, or some of the other things that happened when you were at Ganassi. How did you keep the fuel situation from becoming that moment of bad luck?
Luck, honestly. But I feel sitting here now, I can tell you it's ticked me off before this year, watching some guys win earlier this year and stuff. And I'm thinking, my God, how do they get so lucky? I mean, I've just never had, luck like that. In Texas, I made a mistake. But I think, I've always been a firm believer in everything, everything in life happens for a reason. And I think it's really caused me to grow up. And, I feel fortunate that today's the day that I got it. And, hopefully we can move on from here and not make it another 7 years. So, but for sure, I'm really, really pleased, today. And I'm excited to talk to Dad. And this is a big day for us, so I'm definitely very, very excited.
Brian?
Hey, Brian Belansky, RPM Motorsports Radio Network. We talked at Pomona in November, and I've talked to a lot of drivers, and they all have the confidence and the bravado. They all say they got a great season coming up. But when I asked you to look ahead to 2015, there was something different in the way you answered the question that really made me think back and say, he really thinks he's got a great chance next year. And all leading up to this, second place, third place, great finishes. What did you know in November that made you feel the way that you're obviously performing this year?
Truthfully, I didn't know anything at all. But here's the thing. When I look back at where we were then, I knew the people that were going to be in place. And like I said a minute ago, we're understaffed pretty badly. And we're sitting here, we were talking about it 2 days ago. Who do we hire? And as I said to them, I said, guys, I know everybody's working hard, but maybe we ought to just wait till the year's over so we don't mess up what we've got here. And then you get somebody in and get them in early September and have them build through the winter, get to know the guys, work together. You can't throw a kink into what we have right now. And the team is the biggest part of it. I said that on my cool down lap, and it's true. The team is why this has come together, each and every one of those guys. And I knew then the chain of command that we would have. I felt more confident in those people that not only were they very, very talented, but they understood the meaning of a team, which we didn't have last year. And we had most of these guys already on the team, but they just have all been shuffled around to places that suit them. And it's, obviously worked very, very well.
Keith, did you have a question?
Answered by Bruce, I didn't have no question.
Well, you asked the question. Did you wonder that the way Chevy's dominated in the series this year? Did you ever wonder? Did that really put you think behind the 8 ball and getting that win?
It's hard to say. Man, my phone is freaking blown up. It's hard to say, but I'll say this. Honda has worked tirelessly to put us in this position. And even today, did we have the outright fastest car? No, we didn't. But the thing ran well. The fuel mileage was good. It drove very well in traffic. Very, very consistent. And that's kind of been the strength, of the car and taking care of the tires and stuff. And today, our strength was the long run. But Honda, Chevy has beat us pretty badly this year. But the thing I'm proud of is that Honda's not given up. Mr. Yamada, who is the president of Honda of America, was here today. Saw him just a minute ago. Actually, I flew from Columbus, Ohio to here with him earlier this week, so I'm telling him he's my good luck charm right about now. But he's paying attention to what's going on here, and they're committed to making this thing better, and that's what I have confidence in.
Ed?
Motorsports Journal. You mentioned just a little earlier in this conference that there's a difference between trailing a Chevy and trailing a Honda. Could you give us a characterization of what that's like? And then the second follow-up is one easier than the other?
The Chevy Chevy puts off a bigger wake, so it's harder to follow a Chevy, particularly if you get 2 or 3 of them in a line. Like if there were 2 or 3 Chevys in the high groove and 1 and 2, I was in trouble. If it was just Marco, which when I made my final move to the front, it was just Marco in front of me, I could follow pretty cleanly without a problem. For whatever reason, the Honda seems to put off a cleaner wake behind it.
Do you think that maybe the Chevy should maybe have something modified to where they're a little bit more even that way?
No. I know there's been a lot of talk this year about aero kits and this, that, the other thing, but the thing that's good about this is there's a lot of talk, right? That's kind of what we all wanted. It's in the media. People are paying attention to it. And one doesn't need penalized to help the other. I think actually, frankly, that's a positive of the Honda. And typically I would say, the Honda guys probably try to stick together a little bit more. You have to use each other. You're not just going to go outrun somebody. So you got to work together. So, I'd say right now it's a positive, but that's on the super speedway package. So we're going to go to Milwaukee next week. It's probably gonna be a whole different animal.
Questions from the Terrace Press Box.
Yeah, I have 2 questions for Graham. Wolfgang Monza, Rennsport Press Agency, Germany. Graham, after the qualifying yesterday, 19th spot, did your team did any significant changes to the car? Because I had the impression it much quicker today during the race. And question number 2, is there maybe a big disadvantage as the one-car team compared to the other ones?
Well, I think, one of your questions probably answers the other, which is the one thing that hurts us is that the one-car team aspect of this is that yesterday we couldn't go try different aero configurations or downforce levels. That's what bit us in the butt in Texas. We didn't have enough time to try things out, so we just didn't put enough on. And I was not going to lie to you, I was nervous today about how we were going to go forward with that. And in qualifying, the car wasn't great in qualifying, but it was flat. It was loose, but I was flat, no problem, all that stuff. But we just, for some reason in qual trim, we couldn't find any speed. I don't know. It was like one of those weird things that you get sometimes that, we were trimmed at the same level as Marco, and he did a 17 and we did a 13. So there's pretty much no explanation for that, but these things happen at times. And then I felt very confident in my race car. And I was kind of nervous about today because I saw yesterday Andretti, with 3 cars, all 3 cars are running different aero configurations. Well, we don't have the freedom to do that. So it's a little bit harder on us. But the positive is that, we got really smart guys here. And I think our build quality of the car is excellent. And, I think we felt confident that going into the race today that we could put a good one in there.
That's Graham Rahal. He was here in the press box, or in the press conference room, actually, a little bit ago. And a lot of information to digest right there. A lot of information. And you're listening to the Shifting Gears post-race show live from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. Graham Rahal, your winner of the MAVTV 500 out here at the Speedway. Now, a lot of interesting things caught my eye right there. The big thing that kind of made me stand up and go, wait, what are you talking about? What did you just say? Was when he was talking about the difference between the wake of a Chevy and a Honda. And on paper, that doesn't seem like or I should say on paper, it does seem like a big deal, but the thing that's a bigger deal to me is the fact that as a driver, not only are you focused on where are the cars beside me, because I don't want to change a lane real quick and jerk into somebody and then cause a big wreck. You're not only thinking about that and where your proximity is to your other cars on the racetrack, but you're also sitting there thinking, okay, that number is 22. 22. Who is that this year? That's Simon Pagino. Okay, yeah. Simon Pagino. Is that a Honda or is that a Chevy? That's a Chevy. Okay, it makes a bigger wake. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Let's go. Another one. Give me another one. It's like literally a pop quiz game at 220 miles an hour. And you just so happen to have, 20 of your not so best friends near you racing at 220 miles an hour who want to pass you any and every chance that they have. Am I missing anything here? Is this a little dangerous? I see a little bit of a danger here. I don't think that this is necessarily a good thing. Maybe we should make it very clear. In all seriousness, and I'm dead serious here when I say this, if IndyCar doesn't want to go and make a change to the Chevys and to the Hondas to make them more aerodynamically equal, then put their logos on the back. Or maybe stripes or something. And I'm 100% dead serious when I say this. Put a red stripe on a Honda and a gold stripe on a Chevy. And I'm dead serious because that would make it easy for these guys. It really would. Because nothing says that's dangerous like trying to play chess at 220 miles an hour. Pop quiz. Is that a Chevy or is it a Honda? I don't know. I think it's a Chevy. Oh, wait. No, this wake is not as big. That is a Honda. You lose. Hopefully you don't flip and hit something. Yeah. I mean, seriously, this is like a dangerous high-speed game of chess. Let's make it simpler for these guys. I'm just saying. The thing about the race today that was just so intense is the first 136 laps were green flag. Absolutely insanity. And then on lap 136, Castroneves made slight contact with Briscoe and with power, sending Castroneves into the inside wall. He spun debris down the backstretch when he spun because parts of his car came flying off. That caused the first caution. Second caution came out on lap number 158 when Ed Carpenter slid up the racetrack when the front nose pushed a little too much, collected his teammate, Josef Newgarden of all things. Both cars totaled, unfortunately, but they were able to get out of the race or out of their cars okay. They were checked and cleared in the infield medical center. Now, the other yellow flag was debris on the backstretch, or another yellow flag, I should say, was debris on the backstretch on lap number 191. We saw basically that debris back there. The leaders under that caution were Power, Dixon, Hunter Ray, Briscoe, and Jax on that one. After that, the pits were open, and it caused kind of an interesting timeline around the pit area because everybody was pitting and everything was fine for the most part, but it's set up for the desperation round is what I was calling it, because those last 50 laps, it was pure desperation. There was no, oh, it's this, oh, it's that. It was pure desperation because those guys were gunning for anything and everything that you could get on pit road down there and off pit road. And ultimately we saw another caution happen on lap 245. How we went that long, I don't know. I really don't. And it happened when Will Power and AJ Foyt racing driver Takumu Sato got into it on the front stretch. And And then after that, we went under a red flag for that one. And at the red flag, and this I think is probably the winning move. It's not officially the winning move, but it is realistically, is when Ray Hall somehow just squeaked by everybody else at the line in order to become the leader. He held the lead through the caution, then on the restart, somehow held that lead after some very tight racing. And on the white flag lap, as they were getting the white flag coming on the front stretch, it was Ryan Briscoe and Ryan Hunter-Reay who made contact on that final lap as they were getting the white flag. Briscoe's car sent flying through the air, nose over nose, and eventually landed on his tires. Both drivers, both Briscoe and Hunter-Reay, both got out of their vehicles and both were checked and cleared from the infield medical center here at the Auto Club Speedway, and they're both cleared to race in the rest of the 2015 season. So very interesting just race in general. Tony Kanaan came home second. Marco Andretti placed third. Juan Pablo Montoya finished fourth, extended his championship lead to 46 over Power, and rookie Sage Carmen is the highest, finishing of the fifth at the track where he wrapped up the 2013 Indy Lights Championship. So this race was just, it kind of padded Montoya's lead a little bit. I don't want to say he's more or less, won the thing, but he kind of has. I mean, Ray Hall was 19 years old and, 93 days when he won at St. Petersburg, still the youngest IndyCar winner in history. And that was a number of years ago. That was back in April 2008. 125 races. That's a lifetime, my friends. This is a gigantic win for him, because the first one obviously was historic. It's your first one. He made history with that one. But this one, I think for any driver, when you get the first one, and this is for anybody, whenever you win something for the first time, it's just a sense of enjoyment, of just jubilation. It's uncontrolled happiness, really. And then when you go back and you get a second win, that's just validation. It's saying, okay, see, I did earn it. I am that good. And for Graham, he has been good, but frankly, he's just had bad luck, and he's been very close a couple of times, but just hasn't been able to bust through that win column. And finally, he got it. I sat down with him at lunch on Thursday as we were talking about this race and a number of other things, and you could just tell, like, he kind of had a, we'll see what happens kind of thing to it, but he was very relaxed. He was enjoying himself. He seemed happy, and why not? The guy's getting married this offseason. He's with a team that seems to be getting better and better every day, and he said it in the press conference earlier. They want to add to that organization, and they want to make it better, but don't do it mid-season. Do it at the end of the season so it doesn't mess up what's already gelling, because something clearly was gelling today out here at the Auto Club Speedway for Graham Rahal and for that race team. So congratulations to him. Congratulations to the team. Congratulations to Honda for breaking through the win column again. That's pretty darn cool to beat a Chevy. Graham actually told me he didn't believe that they could actually do it. He really didn't. He didn't think that they actually had the I don't want to say speed, but they didn't think that they could get around it. They really didn't. And that one's kind of like, okay. Like when he told me that, he's like, we're not going to beat him. It was like, what? What are you talking about? You're not going to beat him? Really? That's a big, bold statement for a driver to make. But they had him here today, and he didn't give up. Neither has Honda. So we'll see what happens. If you want to listen to the interview that I had with Graham Rahal earlier this week, go ahead and log on to ARNrace.com and check out the interview tab right there, and you can listen to it. It's also on the homepage as well. So give that a listen. It's actually a pretty cool interview. I got to talk to him about a number of things, including the fact that I don't mean to brag or anything, but he's getting married this winter. I'm getting married this winter. We have a lot in common. We both got a significant other to fall in love with us. However, planning the wedding, that's extraordinarily difficult. The struggle is real, my friends. But it's all in good fun. and I'm excited, and you could tell he's excited too. Him and his fiance Courtney Force, you could tell that they were excited. And yes, she was out here today with her father John, NHRA IndyCar, or excuse me, NHRA funny car champ, out here today, and she's a funny car driver herself as well. So it was very cool to see them and bump into them out here today, as well as see all of them together. You can log on to ARNrace.com to check out some photos of that as well. So what we'll do now, we'll go ahead and step aside for the final time. When we get back, we're going to wrap all this up, and even though we're live from the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, still got a NASCAR race to get to tomorrow with Sonoma. It's going to be a pretty darn good race too, I think. I hope. I don't know. We'll see. No, it's going to be a really good race. We're going to talk about a number of different things that the drivers have to kind of keep in mind when you're going road course racing and what are going to be the challenges. So don't go anywhere. You're shifting gears right here on ARN.
One and only for all things motorsport. Sick of bad race coverage or none at all from those other networks? Make ARN your one and only for all things motorsports. ARN, the Motorsports Authority.
Nurse, I need you to apply pressure to the head wound until I can get to it. I'm concerned she's lost too much blood.
Oh, no.
You in the corner, who are you? You're not supposed to be here.
She's my girlfriend, doctor.
You need to wait out in the waiting room.
Please, doctor, I want to stay with her.
Look, she's been badly injured. So if you want to do what's best for her, you need to let us do our work.
Please, doctor, she has to be okay. I didn't need to do this. I love her.
Wait a second. You were the driver?
Yes, but I didn't mean to. I swear, we went to dinner. I was just buzzed. I only had a few drinks.
Just buzzed? Why didn't you tell us that? In that case, your girlfriend is fine.
Hey, sweetie. I feel great. You want to get out of here?
I can't believe this. Really, doctor? She's really okay?
What, are you kidding? No, not really. Nurse, get me a suture kit. Stat.
Buzzed driving. Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A public service announcement brought to you by the U.S. Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
What is one NASCAR Unites wristband capable of doing? It can inspire a child to go farther in school. It can construct a brand new playground for kids who've never had one. It can introduce a child with a serious illness to his or her favorite NASCAR driver.
I'm Tony Stewart. I wear my band to Unite for Kids. Band together with me by logging on to www.nascar.com/unites to pledge your support.
Shifting Gears on ARN is powered by Stash Feed. Get the feed. Log on to stashfeed.com to see what you've been missing and get the feed. You're shifting gears on ARN. Here's Alan Bailey.
We're live from the Auto Club Speedway here in Fontana, California. Graham Rahal, the winner of the MAVTV 500 out here earlier today. He's off doing media things. He's doing all the interviews and things. We heard from him earlier. You can log on to ARNrace.com if you want to check out that interview, which is hilarious because we actually got a chance to catch up with him on this week's Shifting Gears at the normal time anyway. So kind of a twofer for Graham Rahal. I mean, I'm just saying, Graham, we had lunch this week. You won the race this week. I don't think that's a coincidence, pal. I'm just saying that's, a thing, just keep that in mind, pal. I mean, you gotta definitely remember that for next week. I'm just saying. What I do encourage you to do is I encourage you to log on to facebook.com/ARNrace because the crazy wild incident was captured on video, obviously, for Ryan Briscoe and Ryan Hunter-Reay that brought out the final caution, which ended this race under caution. But it was not only captured on film, obviously, but there was an onboard camera for Ryan Briscoe. And that footage is interesting, to say the very least. It's very violent, but I do want to stress Ryan Briscoe, Ryan Hunter-Reay, both checked and cleared from the infield medical center. Both are okay. Both will race in the coming weeks. So keep that in mind. But just crazy video. That one is just wow. That's all you can really say is just wow. But Want to shift gears here to NASCAR because there is a race, the Toyota Save Mart 350 up at the Sonoma Raceway in Sonoma, California, NorCal, tomorrow. AJ Allmendinger going to be starting on the pole for that one. Kurt Busch outside Paul, followed by Matt Kenseth, Kyle Larson in row 2. Row 3, we have Jeff Gordon and Clint Boyer. Row 4, we find Tony Stewart, Casey Mears. Row 5, making out your top 10, David Reagan, Brad Keselowski. Couple of notables, Kyle Busch, who's attempting to make the chase. He's going to be starting 11th. Jimmy Johnson going to be starting 13th. Carl Edwards, defending winner, starting 14th. You had Kevin Harvick, who's starting 17th. McMurray, who's starting 18th. You had Dale Earnhardt Jr. starting 20th. Danica Patrick, 21st on the starting grid. Casey Kane, dad to be, coming, going to be starting on the 26th position. You have Trevor Bayne starting 31st. Boris said road course ringer starting 33rd. Justin Marks, also road course ringer, going to be starting 35th. You have Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who had an issue during his qualifying run, going to be starting 40th on the grid as well. The drivers that did not qualify who are going home, Brendan Gaughan. So sorry. But AJ Allmendinger, his first pole in many, many, many years, his first pole since April of 2012 at Kansas, and his first ever pole on the road courses at either Sonoma or Watkins Glen. So keep that in mind, because it's an interesting road course, because you look at it, Allmendinger, he's a guy who's quickly becoming the road course guy, more so than Jeff Gordon, even though Gordon's retiring this year. Gordon must have known something, because yesterday Gordon said, hey, watch out for Allmendinger, and Allmendinger got the pole. He won last summer at Watkins Glen, and he leads them to the green tomorrow. Allmendinger's first pole, obviously, since, like I said earlier, since Kansas of 2012. Allmendinger's still looking for that first win in 2015, though. He's trying to get back in the chase. He's not in right now, but he's right there near the front, so keep an eye on him. It's going to be an interesting, a very interesting race, to say the very, very least. So some interesting stats, an interesting stat I want to keep in mind for you for tomorrow's NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race. 8 of the last 10 Sonoma winners, fastest in Friday's final practice. And it was like a reunion of past winners Friday and the second and final practice for Sunday's race in Sonoma, because basically it was very interesting. You look at final practice, it was Kyle Busch, and Kyle, he won in 2008, fastest. Defending champ Carl Edwards, second. Kurt Busch, third, who just so happens to be the 2011 winner. The 2012 winner, Clint Boyer, was up there as well, followed by Martin Truex Jr., who won in 2013. The 2006 winner, Jeff Gordon, was up there as well, followed by the 2009 winner, Casey Kane, who was 7th fastest. And Jimmy Johnson, who won in 2010, was 10th fastest. Are you seeing a pattern here? I'm definitely seeing a pattern here myself. Also inside the top 10, Sam Hornish Jr., who was 8th fastest, still hasn't gotten a win at Sonoma. He's looking for his first win on the road courses. Same with Michael McDowell, who was 9th fastest. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting. And this is the stat that I always look at the most, because I think it provides more of a benchmark for who's fast and who's not. Your best 10-lap averages. Casey Kane was the fastest on a 10-lap average run, followed by Clint Boyer, Brad Keselowski, David Reagan, Ryan Newman, Denny Hamlin, Jamie McMurray, Kyle Larson, and Trevor Bayne. But these are the drivers who ran 10 or more consecutive laps, which everybody on this list did. Not a whole, only 9 drivers who ran 10 or more laps consecutively. So Casey Kane might be good on the long runs, but since Boyer was on this list and so is Keselowski, it lends me to believe maybe Kane is fast on the long runs. But this race has quickly become about fuel strategy and pit strategy, because how many times do you pit? twice, 3 times, 4 times, once? Can you do it on one stop? It's a giant question mark, and it's something you have to keep in mind about this racetrack. So we'll see what happens tomorrow out at the road course in wine country up there. So what we'll we're winding down on time here. So a topic that we discussed actually on this week's episode of Shifting Gears is the Confederate flag, and both Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jeff Gordon, and Brian France have all come out saying that basically the Confederate flag belongs nowhere in America anymore. Basically, Earnhardt said Friday, quote, "I made my comments about the Confederate flag several times, and I stand behind NASCAR stands to remove it. I think it's offensive to an entire race. It really doesn't do anything for anybody to be out there flying. It belongs in the history books. That's about it," unquote. That is Dale Earnhardt Jr. that said that. Jeff Gordon said, quote, "I know we approach it at Hendrick Motorsports. Everything that we can control, we eliminate the ability to use in any way. It shows up in any of the things we're involved in. That's the stance I see that NASCAR has taken and has for several years. I'm in support of what they're doing. It's a delicate balance. We race all over, but the South is an area where we have a lot of fans, and everyone has a different opinion and expressive of that. I support NASCAR and stand by what they've taken," unquote. 2 year basically the most popular drivers in NASCAR, period. NASCAR made a statement on Tuesday saying, "We're keeping it away." Brian France, chairman of NASCAR, said this week, quote, that NASCAR would go as far as, quote, "go as far as we can to eliminate the presence of that flag. I personally find it an offensive symbol. So there is no daylight how we feel about it and our sensitivity to others who feel the same way. We're working with the industry to see how far it can go to take that flag and for it to be disallowed entirely from our events," unquote. The Confederate flag shouldn't be anywhere but in the history books. There are a number of companies out there who frankly love to take advantage of racism in this country, and that's what they're doing. Yes, it's a shame that such an iconic car such as the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard TV series is being removed from basically, toys and things like this and merchandise and things like this, but let me remind you, the Dukes of Hazzard hasn't been on the air in almost 30 years, over 30 years, actually. What are we complaining about? I'm being dead serious here. What's the problem? That show is long gone and it's long dead. What is the problem? But apparently some of you don't feel that way. And I understand that. A lot of people are from the South. A lot of people were raised on those beliefs, but let me tell you, those beliefs are outdated, and it's time to put that all behind us. I made some very frank comments on Thursday's episode of Shifting Gears, and if you missed it, go back and listen, because I stand by 100% what I said, and I still mean it. So just keep that in mind. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time out here at the Auto Club Speedway. So once again, congratulations to Ryan Hunter Ray, your winner out here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. 125 races. Oh man, I mean, that's just A, that's a lot of races, but B, that's just cool. This feels like a first-time winner. It's not his first win by any means, but it still has that first-time winner kind of feel, which is just so darn cool. So congratulations to Graham Rahal, winner of the MAVTV 500 out at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California. I have to thank IndyCar. I have to thank everybody out here at the Auto Club Speedway out here in Fontana, because once again, they put on a great event. No, the crowds weren't great, but the racing was interesting, to say the very least. And we were treated with such hospitality. It was amazing. So thank you to all the staff out here at the Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for hosting us once again. And for everybody here at the American Racing Network and Shifting Gears, I'm Alan Bailey. See ya at the track.
You've been listening to the American Racing Network, a turn for media company. This is ARN. the Motorsports Authority.